Hey everyone, Jake here for American Trucks, and in this video we're taking a look at the barred front bumper fitting 2016 to 2018 Silverado 1500s. Now this bumper is going to appeal to the Silverado owner who wants some serious protection and some serious clearance for their truck. With flexibility to mount lights and other accessories, plus some additional lighting that's included in the kit, this bumper is going to give you everything you need to get the front end of your Silverado looking aggressive and functioning the way you want, and it'll do it for one of the best prices in the category. Replacing your front bumper can seem like a bit of a daunting modification at the start, but it's one that can have a huge impact on both the look and the functionality of your truck. Now stylistically, this is obviously going to be a big departure from your original. It's much smaller, it's much more low profile and aggressive looking than the original bumper, and it's going to cut up a lot closer to the body of the truck. It certainly gives the Silverado's already imposing front end an even more aggressive look. And since this does again cut up much closer to the body and is narrower overall, it gives you a lot more clearance in the front end. So you'll have a much better approach angle for when you encounter obstacles out on the road or especially out on the trail. Now you also get two LED cube lights included for the outside portions of the bumper. These are going to mount right up in here, so you don't lose your fog lights. Now in the center, you can leave this included grille installed, or you can take this out to make room for additional lighting and other accessories. There is also a license plate mount included in the kit for those of you who live in a state that requires front plates. And this is designed to be a direct bolt-on replacement for your stock bumper as well, so there are no modifications needed to get it fitted. And you get this extra section here that's going to bolt onto the bottom to extend the protection of the front bumper down a little bit further, so it'll protect some key components when you're out on the trail as well, giving you just that little extra bit of protection. Now construction here is quite stout. The bumper itself is constructed from steel and then is finished off in a multi-layer coating. The steel is pre-treated to remove impurities, then it gets a phosphate layer to prevent any rust or corrosion before the actual finished coating is applied. Next is an E-coating, which is then topped off with the textured black powder coat that you see here. So this should be able to stand up to the elements and prevent rust and corrosion for some time. Now that steel construction also means that this thing is super solid. So between the material and that multi-stage coating, if you're encountering obstacles out on the trail or in the parking lot at the mall, it can certainly take a beating. All the bracketry that you need is also finished in the same steel and the same coating as the bumper itself too, so everything should be nice and solid. The LED cube lights are also IP67 waterproof rated. Between that and the LEDs, these should stand the test of time. They feature an aluminum housing with integrated cooling fins, plus a polycarbonate lens over top, and you've got 4 LEDs inside, pretty much your standard cube light. They also come with the pigtails already ready to go, so these are going to be pretty much a plug and play install when it comes to wiring, but we'll talk more about that in a few minutes. Pricing comes in at about $625, and that makes this one of the most affordable full-width bumpers on the market for this gen of Silverado. Now this doesn't have a winch mount or an overrider bar included, but if you want the extra clearance and protection, this is a great way to get it for a reasonable price. Plus, you get some additional lighting thrown in. As is typical for bumpers, installation here will get a 2 out of 3 on our difficulty meter, and the job should take you around 2 hours to complete. Now the bumper itself is a totally bolt-on setup. It doesn't require you to make any modifications to your truck. It's going to use all your factory mounting points, and it's just going to swap right in place of your factory bumper using the included brackets and hardware. Now these things can be kind of cumbersome, so for ease and safety, I highly recommend getting a friend or someone else to help you out with this, especially once you've gotten your old bumper off and you need to get this new one into place, because holding this thing up and then getting all the bolts and brackets started is really difficult no matter how strong you are. Then you're also going to have to wire in your lights, but again, these come pretty much pre-wired. They're going to plug right into this included harness, which has the relay and a switch already included. Only thing you'll need to do is run power and ground. But that's about all I can say for it here. So with that, why don't we head on out to the shop now and we'll walk you through the install process.
For this install, you need a 3/8 impact and ratchet, an extension, a 19, 18, 17, 16, 16 swivel, 15 and 10 millimeter socket, a 19, 15 and 13 millimeter wrench, the supplied Allen keys, a pair of diagonal cutters, and the clip removal tool. All right, today we're going to be installing a front bumper on our Silverado today. First, we're going to watch a quick video how to install a stock one. We're going to come back here to install the new one.
All right, so the first step in our uninstall with your hood popped is to remove all of the pop clips that hold on your rad support cover. Grab a pop clip removal tool, or you can use a flathead screwdriver, and let's get these removed. With all of the pop clips removed, you can now grab your cover and remove it off the truck. Now we can see the 4 bolts on the top of our grill. We need to remove those with a 10mm socket. With all of your bolts removed, you can grab the grill and pull back straight towards you to release all of the clips. All right, now that the grill is removed, we can see the bolts that we have to remove to take off your bumper. There are 2 on each side, one is up top here, and one is just on the inside of the frame down there. Grab an 18mm socket and let's get these removed. Now I just want to point out this one is an aftermarket replacement bolt. Yours will look like the factory one that we just removed. Repeat that on the other side. All right, now we're moving on to underneath your bumper. These are the last 2 bolts holding it on, so make sure when you're underneath, it is supported. Now these are also aftermarket. Yours will look more like the factory bolts. And these are 17 on our truck, so grab a 17mm socket and let's get these removed. Repeat that on the other side. Now that all of your bolts are removed, you can remove the bumper off of your truck. Now we also do have to remove the factory bumper brackets. There's 3 15mm bolts, so grab your 15mm socket and let's get these removed. Repeat that on the other side. Next up, we're going to remove the bumper support bars. Now you don't have to remove these for install, but you may see these peeking out from behind your new bumper, and they are not used, so we're going to take them off. There are 2 15mm bolts right on the other side of the frame behind here. Let's get these removed. Repeat that on the other side.
All right, now we said to take the factory tow hooks off because they will be relocated. So we have 2 bolts, we have a bolt and a nut, and then just a bolt. Both are 18mm, so we're gonna grab our impact 18mm socket and 18mm wrench and take them off. All right, you go repeat the same thing for the other tow hook. All right, now we're gonna get our parts laid out on our table. We need to take a couple bolts out of the sides of the bumpers to be able to unfold them, and then we can install our lower shield and our fog lights. We're gonna start by taking our 2 bolts out here and here on either side that are hand tight. All right, now we're gonna take this bolt off that's hand tight. Then we can fold out this section of the bumper. We'll do the same thing on the other side. All right, now we're gonna mount on our front lower shield. So it's gonna mount to these 2 tabs here. It's gonna mount like this. If you were to put a front license plate on or a vanity plate, this bracket would mount to those 2 existing holes there. We're not going to for ours, so we're gonna leave that off on the side. Now you're gonna have 2 spring nut clips. They're going to go over the bumper like so. Cover will go over top, then we're gonna grab our supplied Allen bolts, lock washer, and then flat washer, and then tighten them down with our supplied Allen key. All right, bolts will go through the front side into our clips. All right, and we tighten them down with our supplied Allen key. All right, get our supplied Allen key and tighten it down. All right, now we have two bolts here and one on the other side that are gonna tighten down and secure our bumper. So we have our supplied bolt, our lock washer, and flat washer. Thread that in here. All right, once you get it threaded in, we're gonna grab our impact, extension, and 16mm swivel and tighten that down. All right, then we're gonna come to our other one and get our regular 16mm socket, tighten that down. All right, now you can repeat the same thing for your other two bolts on the other side. All right, now we are ready to get our fog lights on. We just have to put our mounting bracket on and then we can mount it to our bumper. Our mounting bracket gets attached with 2 Allen bolts and nuts. And then our mounting bracket goes with a 13mm bolt and nut to our bumper. All right, now your bracket is going to slide into the back and then there are 2 slots for the nuts to fall into. So get them lined up. Your Allen will go through the side and through the bracket. All right, let's tighten them down with the supplied Allen key. All right, now we can install it into our bumper. All right, now we're gonna mount our fog light into our bumper. Get our fog light into place, and we're gonna go through the bottom of the bracket here. It's kind of tricky to get the bolt into place. So you're gonna fish it up through the bracket and then through the bumper. If you need to, you can use Allen key that you just tighten it down with. All right, then on top, we're gonna do our flat washer, lock washer, and nut. I'm gonna grab our 13mm wrench and tighten that down. All right, now you go ahead and do the same thing for the other fog light. All right, now before we get our bumper on, we just have to do the wiring for our fog lights. So we just have to attach it to our battery, run our 2 front wires to where our fog lights will be, and then run our switch into our vehicle. All right, so we're gonna start by hooking up to our battery. So we're gonna take our 2 10mm nuts off both our terminals and then install our wires over, then reinstall them back on. All right, now we're gonna grab our ratchet and 10mm socket and take our nuts off both of our terminals. All right, we're gonna get our wiring, hook our red up to our positive, black up to our negative. I know this might be kind of hard to see with my hand blocking it, but it is pretty tight in here. All right, now we just take our ratchet and tighten them both back down. All right, now we can run our wires across the front of the vehicle to go to our switch inside and our lights up front. All right, now we're just gonna secure our wiring with a few zip ties. So we're gonna take our we're gonna take our relay block and zip tie to our support bar here. Just keep going down with our wiring. And continue zip tying to this support bar here. Then you can just take a pair of diagonal cutters and just cut off the excess. All right, now we're just gonna pull our switch wire all the way across so we can go through our firewall on our driver's side. All right, now we're just gonna pull our switch wire tight, zip tie to this support bar here. Now you can wire yours up however you want. If you want to clean it up a little better, you could even zip tie to this wire that runs across, but you can do it however you want. We're just gonna do it like this. You just wanna make sure that it's not touching anything hot. All right, now we're gonna send our switch through our firewall. Just real quick, we're gonna disconnect it just to make it a little bit easier so we don't damage the button. We're gonna take this end, go through our firewall. Right here, you'll see this rubber plug. Like I said, it's gonna be hard to see. My hands are gonna be blocking most of it. But you're just gonna fish the wire through. Enough so that we can go on the inside and pull it the rest of the way through. All right, now we're gonna pull our wire through the rest of the firewall. It's gonna be pretty much impossible to see, but it does come out above this box. Gonna reach up, pull it the rest of the way through, reconnect it, and then we can zip tie it to one of our wires here. All right, and then we can mount it to our dash. Just peel off the cover for the double-sided tape, and you can just stick it to your dash. All right, now we just need to run our wiring to where our fog lights will be on the new bumper. So for the passenger side, we're just gonna run it behind our headlight. We'll clean up the extra when we get the bumper on. The driver's side, we'll run it up behind the radiator cover. Down along this headlight. We'll do the same thing after we get the bumper on and clean up our wiring. All right, now what we're gonna do is we're gonna go grab a buddy to help get this bumper on because it is heavy. So you will see two slots on either side of the bumper that will mount to the top and the side using your factory 15mm hardware. All right, now that I got my buddy here, we're gonna get our bumper into place. All right, now we're gonna grab our 15mm ratcheting wrench and tighten them down. All right, now you go ahead and do the same thing for the other two bolts on the other side. All right, now we're just gonna mount our tow hook relocation bracket. As you can see, our skid plate is just folded down out of the way, just so you can see a little bit easier. But it will go where the old tow hook went. You're gonna have two studs that go on the inside, like that. The single one will go like that. And then you'll have nuts, flat washers, and lock washers to tighten that down. All right, so we're gonna put our double one in first. And then our single. Then we will have our flat washer, our lock washer, our supplied nuts on all three of those studs. All right, we can just leave them loose for now and we'll come back and tighten. All right, then we're gonna put our tow hook in the center. You're gonna have two spacer plates that fit on either side. We're gonna grab our long bolt and put that through the front. That'll go through this long portion of the tow hook. Come out the other side, another flat washer, and then you're gonna put your locking nut on this one. And then your factory nut that you took off your tow hook will go in the back side. All right, then we can take our impact 18mm socket and 19mm wrench and tighten them all down. All right, then we have a front bolt. As you see, I just flipped it around so I can get the impact on this side, and our 19mm wrench on the back side. All right, now you just go ahead and repeat the same thing for your other tow hook. And then we're gonna get our Fog-Lite wiring connected, plug in our connector. Then we're just gonna coil up our extra wire, zip tie it up out of the way. You do the same thing for the other side. All right, now we're just gonna zip tie it to this support bar here. Cut off the excess. All right, now we can reinstall our grill. Get it into place, give it a tap, securing our locking tabs. Then we can reinstall our 4 10mm bolts that we took out of the top. All right, now we're gonna reinstall our 10mm bolts with our ratchet. All right, now we're gonna put our radiator cover over, then reinstall all of our push clips. All right, and that wraps up our install of our barred front bumper for our 2016 to 2018 Chevy Silverado 1500. And remember, for everything Silverado, keep it right here at AmericanTrucks.com.